How's it going? Looks like my audio is enabled now. How's it going to all you fine people in the morning time out there? Or actually, it's morning time here. Sorry for mixing it up. I'm 2 coffees in. Still trying to wake up. Didn't get as much sleep last night as I hoped. But isn't always the case. Let's make sure I got everything set up here. I'm gonna get going on programming here very, very soon. Did I share everything with everybody? Just to make sure. Okay, cool. I think we had everything in the Discord and stuff. We all had a fine weekend. I guess most of you still on Sunday. It's Monday out here, but just getting my week started. Hopefully, it's gonna be good. I want to get some nice weather finally. It was raining all weekend out here, but actually Saturday wasn't bad. Sunday was pretty lousy. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, well, last time pretty much what happened. Just to review that real quick so we can get started on our planning. Pulling up our project here on GitHub. By the way, just going to post that in the link for anybody who needs it in the chat room. But yeah, we have commits. I push my commits. So basically last time, what do we do? Okay, just going down to our collision system. We had quite a few changes here. So the main thing is we added this collision system structure where we have a init function. And the init function creates some scratch memory you're going to use for attacker and defender hitboxes, which are both array lists so that we can add as many hitboxes we need. For right now, we're going to limit to the size of 10. We're going to change that in the future for however we need. Just to like solidify that, or like for posterity's sake, we are actually checking explicitly that this 10 hitboxes, right, for both the attacker and the defender hitboxes, and then for at least capacity wise. One thing I don't know if is array lists lets us like have fixed capacity. Because I don't necessarily want to allocate memory on the fly. Anyway, for now, that's what we're going to do. Just to make that very explicit, the size of those scratch data. And the plan is to clear out the data when we're before we process it, so that we don't get some effects of like holdover state from the last frame, right? That's things we have to be very careful of. So yeah, and then we went through, and instead of like, I think previously we were using while loops. We used while loops. Now we're not using that anymore. We're actually going to just like loop through the our staged hitboxes, and we'll pass it in as a capture, the hitboxes we're working with for that entity, and we're going to get the entity index, which we're going to use to check to see if we'll process them. This is weird. This is removed code. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, we'll go through all the attacker hitboxes and the defender. Make sure the defender is not the same as the attacker. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to think. Yeah, this should be right. Cool. So we're gonna. Let me think a little bit how I want to handle this. So what we're doing here basically is we're looping through all the attack boxes, and then we're looping through all the defenders, and then all the defender boxes, right? The vulnerable boxes. One other way we could do it is loop through all the defenders and then loop through all the hitboxes per defender. Which would be better at the end of the day? Ultimately, we're not going to have a lot of... So if there's a lot, assuming there was a lot of defenders, it's too well, for now, let's just stick with this way. I mean, it does make sense to loop through the attackers and all the defenders and then each hitbox so that we're only looping over the hitboxes directly. Which one would be more cache code efficient? Anyway, let's just think about that in the future. Oh, it looks like there's some more people in the room. We're just starting out here. Hope you all having a good evening out there if you're in the US, or morning time out here in Asia. Well, East Asia, I guess. Anywhere on the side of the Pacific. Okay. But yeah, basically that's what we're doing. And just to review a little bit more, inside of our loop, we're just doing this hitbox overlap call on the attack box and vulnerable box, and then we'll generate an event. We haven't generated the event yet. So the other thing we did was test capacity. This time what I want to do is actually generate the event, and then I want to test that event generation. I also want to test clearing out hitboxes. So, you know, our scratch data has this capacity, right, of 10 hitboxes for both the attacker and defenders. What I want to do is test that we're actually properly clearing that out, so while the capacity stays the same, the number of hitboxes that are currently stored or active or whatnot are 0 each time we loop through the system. So let's write that in our agenda. So first thing you want to do is, so we already have in our agenda generate collision events, but also I want to test that scratch hitbox data used in the collision pipe. Okay. The reason we want to do this, so test the scratch hitbox data used in the collision pipeline is cleared out each frame. Let's say hitbox system. The reason why I want to do that is if we accidentally have hitbox data from the last frame left over in the collision data, or in our scratch data, it could affect the next frame. We don't want that. We only want to look at hitboxes that are currently active for this frame. Otherwise, we're going to have to store that in our rollback data in the future because, you know, to remain deterministic, we need to have everything that affects logic on that frame, right? If we want completely the same results, if you watch my other streams about rollback netcode, you know that you start if you start with the same data, you end up with the same results, right? Okay, given the same data, you get the same, and you have the same code run, you have the same results. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we want to test that. So how should we start on there? Let's go down to our collision system test here. Okay, so we did test our initialization. Let's make a new test called test as clearing out hitbox, well, scratch box data each frame. Okay, so the idea is we're going to run the system one time and run it again. So we got to allocate the system, of course, right? And we need to run the system one time. What is the name of our code? Execute. So we need to run the system once. oops, whatever the code is there. So it'll be collision system.execute. Run it once, and then we run it a second time. Well, you actually don't even run the second time. Yeah. Well, the best way to do this, how should we do this? If we're clearing out the hitbox data at the beginning of the frame, it's not really an easy way to test this, unless we actually split up the system into different stages, into different testable functions. This is kind of a tricky thing. Like, do we actually want to split up the execution to utility functions? It does make it more testable, but it does leave the chance open for someone calling that function outside our intended context. Well, for testability's sake, let's just make a new function, prepare hitboxes. I don't have a good function for it, good name for it right now. Of course, it needs to take self and collision. It needs to take the collision system, and we need to take the game state. Otherwise, we don't know what hitboxes to process, right? From the game itself. Okay. So we're gonna have to somehow take these boxes, right? We're gonna have to take the. Why is it giving me an error here? Oh, we need void. So we're gonna have to somehow clear out the memory of these boxes, right? So let's just go down here before we start any of that. So yeah, the idea is we're gonna execute. So run system once. So we're gonna have to do something like, well, we're gonna have to do like something like prepare hitbox to test that running. And there. So, oh yeah, we just want to check to see if hitboxes are staged properly, right? So we need to check to see if the hitboxes are staged properly. And then we'll have some kind of test, right? We'll test like capacity, I guess. Not capacity, number of items. So to test to see if the hitboxes are staged, we'll have to do something like this. Let's say we're going to test to see if, not capacity, but items dot length. So let's assume that we're just going to stage 2 attack boxes, one for each entity, and let's just say there's 6 vulnerable boxes. That's what we're going to test, right? To make sure both of those, the defender entity boxes, yeah. So actually, this is not what I want to do. Yeah, so actually what we're testing here is not the total number of hitboxes, sorry. It's the total number of entities, sets of hitboxes. So it's going to be 2 for both of these, because we're just going to have 2 entities we're testing. We could change the value. You know what? For the sake of testing, let's just say there's like 4 entities, okay, that are defenders, and there's 2 entities that are attackers. Generally, you would have the same number here, but yeah, actually, I messed up on this, didn't I? No, it's a hitbox group for each of these. So there's a set of this hitbox group for each entity here, right? The problem is, I just realized, our hitbox group itself, I just realized, is not initialized to any size. That's a problem. Somehow I missed that. I guess because so we're going to decide how many hitboxes we initialize per entity. You know what? I don't want to use hitbox group here anymore. I want to change it. I want to have How do I handle this? I don't know. Let's go back. Let's go back to where we were. Okay. So we're going through. So it's interesting. We're going through attacker hitboxes, each group, and then for each attack boxes. Wait, hold on a second. Why does this work? I'm very confused by. So this is a standard array list of character data hitboxes. Okay. This should be like attack boxes dot. I'm really confused here. Because this is an array list, right? And it's a hitbox group. Why does this work? I'm really confused. This shouldn't have actually ever worked. This should have been like dot hitboxes or something. Maybe? That's very weird. This ultimately worked, right? I'm very confused why this didn't actually not compile. Let's just check real quick. Yeah, that's weird. Hold on. Okay. Let me fix whatever I changed there real quick. How did this work? I'm actually very, very confused why this ever compiled in the first place. Maybe it didn't actually compile. We just never checked it. Yeah, let's just comment this out real quick. I just realized something doesn't make any sense. Okay, so it compiles. Why? What am I missing? Okay, let's just step through this. Okay, so we have self.entity attacker entity boxes, right? This is initialized to an array list of a hitbox group, right? And then a hitbox group has start, frame, and duration in hitboxes, right? So why can we, I'm really confused why we're able to iterate over this. What am I missing? What did I change last time that I don't notice? Because I go through attacker boxes, because this should be type hitbox group. Granted, it doesn't show me a type here. And this maybe because we're never actually calling this, Zig didn't actually catch any errors. Is that what the thing is? Well, what we can do here is let's just execute this thing. So we're gonna have to supply it a game state. Do we actually ever test the game state initialization? Okay. I'm just gonna copy this code here just for testing purposes, and we can extract some of this stuff out later, maybe for testing. Anyway, don't need this. Okay, so we have our allocator, our game data. We added to the game data. We don't need that. We added hitboxes. Oh, we never tested initializing the whole system. Okay. Really? I should have wrote tests for initializing the system. Okay, that's fine. We'll go to the game real quick. Code and copy that. So we initialize everything like it's game data. We don't have game state though. Okay, this should be okay, I guess. I don't need this. Oh, that's fine. we got our game state for our game simulation. So then we can go through here and we can add the game state, and hopefully we can test that. Oops. And we got error 127 at game data. Oops. Oh, well, that's funny. We don't have game data as an object because we're not importing it into this. Is this going to be a problem in Zig if I import? Huh. So game data is in the game simulation right now, right? I gotcha. Okay. Well, let's just do this. I don't want to go with this one. I want to import. Let's import the game simulation for now. System. And then we can do all this stuff. Sorry. Oops. Redeclaration of game. Oh, I already did that. Oh, okay. I didn't realize I'd imported it already. My brain isn't working. Okay, trying to narrate this stuff. We got on 82. Okay, that's what I thought. This is not compilable because we're not actually going over the hitboxes. So actually what we need to do is dot hitboxes, and then it would be like dot hitboxes, right? No memory length. Do I have to do items? Okay. So actually, there's not a default iterator for the array list like that. You have to actually point to the items here, I guess. This is what I thought. It's interesting, Zig didn't give me the error unless I actually called the code. 143. Oh, to do this. Okay, look. Cool. That's what we want. So, yeah, right now our scratch data is storing things in this hitbox. What is it? Sorry. This hitbox group thing. That was convenient, but like I said, I realized we're not actually initializing a size for the hitbox group set of hitboxes, so I want to change the type. I want to change the type from standard array. So we need an element for each entity. So it's basically like a 2D array, right? And then I want to, instead of doing this, I want to do hitbox. Okay, and then our tests are going to fail because we didn't initialize things. And so when you initialize each set of hitboxes, so we have support for 10 entities here for each attacker and defenders, but we need to initialize our hitbox data itself. Hopefully this creates a copy. Actually, I don't know if this is the right way to do it in Zig. Anyway, we're just working through problems here. Always more come up than what you expect. So, can we create full copies by doing this? This is a question. So I want to make some temporary hitboxes. Let's say Actually, we don't even need full copies. We just need to have the capacity initialized, right? So what would be the best way to do it? Should we loop over? Well, here's your problem. No, this got a little more complicated than I thought. Hopefully I can talk through this and explain it. So we have a set of 10, we have 10 entities, or scratch data for 10 entities, right? For both 10 possible attackers, 10 possible defenders. But within each of those entities is what was a hitbox group. But each of those hitbox groups could have multiple hitboxes, right? With any number of elements. My thinking originally was, okay, we're going to have a fixed number or a max number, right? So but if we're just initializing capacity, each of those sets of hitboxes within the entity are not going to be initialized, right? Because like we're just initializing capacity for the top level array list itself, not the individual entities sets of hitboxes. Because we can't allocate memory for those because we're not actually initializing unused entity scratch hitboxes yet. So it's like it doesn't know the size, right? With this array list, it doesn't know the size, so it can't really initialize that data or reserve that data. So we would end up allocating memory on the fly, which I don't want to do. Hope that makes sense. So we have a set of 10 entities, each with their own set of hitboxes, which can be any number of hitboxes. Originally, I wanted to have a fixed number, max number, and pre-allocate that memory ahead of time using these array lists, right? I wanted to do that to avoid having my tracking on my own the number of active hitboxes and stuff like that for the stage. But now I'm thinking about it, and I'm just going to probably have an array with use the basic elements of Zig and not use this array list thing. It's actually become more complicated than I was hoping. So scratch the array list idea. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have something like, I'm going to change the name for this. It's not a struct. It needs to be const hitbox set equals a struct. So we're gonna need a number of hitboxes. So hitboxes here. It's gonna be an array. Let's just say, I don't know, max number 10 of character data dot hitbox, right? And then we're gonna have to have a capacity. Well, not capacity. We need items, or length. Let's just call it length because I think that's the standard. And the length is going to be the number of active hitboxes, right? So it's going to start at 0, or usize equals 0. I think that's the correct way to do it. I don't know. And that's a hitbox set. Let's just call it scratch hitbox set for now. And so now if we do this, instead of using this hitbox data group, we could have scratch hitbox data. And we have a known size, right? It's going to be static 10, or a capacity of 10. So this way, the array list can know how big each of those members are. Okay, so we can do that. And instead of initializing hitbox group like this, we need to make it a scratch hitbox set. And that should be all good. I'm going to compile it just to find errors. Oops. So a lot of errors popped up, so more than I thought. Okay, where do we start? We got errors here. Error, expected type set array, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Where's the error at? Attacker. What was the problem? So this is, oh, that's the problem. I have an array of an array. This is not what we want. We want a scratch hitbox stat for each character. Okay. No member name hitboxes. That's correct. We need to fix that. So instead of dot hitboxes, where that was, items. Wait, yeah, it's lowercase hitboxes, I guess. No items, right? Okay, we don't have items. So the problem here is we can't iterate like this, right? Because this is what I was talking about before. Is there any way in Zig for me to do a for loop over, like, how does items work like this? How is it able to do for? Let's go look at the implementation for that, because I want to do something like what is done in here. So we can just loop over here without worrying about using a while loop and keeping an iterator around. Where is items? So items is a slice. Oh, you can use a slice, right? Okay. Let's just read this real quick so we can learn something. So contents of the list. Pointers to elements in the slice are invalid after recycling operation. Relist unless the operation explicitly either states otherwise lists the invalid pointers. Okay. The allocator used to determine how many elements pointers are invalid is so the behaviors, blah, blah, blah. To avoid illegal behavior. Whoa. So when they init this, they make the slice equal to the type passed in. Okay, that's just initializing to the type, right? Okay. Okay, I'm curious how they end up resizing the items. Okay, so items has a, oh wow, you can, is .lint just a default part of a slice? Okay, so we don't, why do we need to keep a length value ourselves? Can we do something like this? Let me think. We're all learning Zig together. Okay, just checking if the audio is working. Okay, so let's go to Hitbox Store. I don't know what we should call it. Hitboxes here. And we'll make that a slice of character data hitbox. We don't know the size yet. Right? Then we should be able to do, so this means slice, which is going to be some number of elements within our hitbox store. I'm like that. I'm going to hitbox store like that because I'm an insane person. Yeah, so instead of doing that, we would do hitbox store, or no, hitboxes. Just hitboxes like that. Should this work? Maybe. Okay, no compile errors. 6 pass, 0 skip, 1 failed. Wish we had like highlighting here so I can easily look at the failures. Okay, here's a failure, right? Wait. Yeah. So I'm sorry we're spending more time on like initializing these hitboxes, but I think it's important to think about this very carefully. So now that we have that, how would we actually, handle this? So before we do this prepare hitbox stuff and expectation, we need to, actually that's what we need to do this actually. So what are we testing? gonna put game state here for now, right? And then let's go to here. And then we need to pull in hitboxes that are active. So there's a game state dot game data, right? Dot, oh, it doesn't show us immediately, but so the game data gets assigned here. It never gets assigned to the game state itself, which we need to do, right? Was that did we do that with an initialization function? Give me a second here. Yeah, so we had like we have test data. We have it in the init function here actually. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this for now. But we're gonna do something like this though. Maybe for testing purposes. So instead of doing that, we need to have the game state dot game data. Okay. So we're going to append some hitboxes. The idea is we're going to append some hitboxes because currently, actually, we're not even going to use. I think we need to look through here real quick. Where's our game? Gonna go to game data. So the game data. Where's the game data? Yeah. So we have the hitbox group stored like this. That's not ultimately how we're going to store things. They're going to be stored within the character set of data itself. And we have to have a stage where we check. Okay. So we have a whole stage where we have to go through and pull in all the hitboxes from the active actions, which means we have a whole. We need to implement that whole part, which is more than I thought. So this is getting trickier to break down. Get in my tummy. Want to watch a video of me pitching my baseball game? I mean, if the link is safe, post it, whatever. Check it out later. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time. Let me turn the audio here just in case. Okay. Yep. Just looking at the video, it looks like baseball. Cool. Baseball is cool. Alrighty. Anyway, cool. Interesting. Can you reply to let us know if you're a bot or not? I'm just very confused by someone coming in asking if you want to watch you play baseball. It's okay. Well, thanks for dropping by either way, man. Definitely appreciate it. But just trying to get back on track with the train of thought here. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, basically before we can start staging hitbox data, oh, no problem, man. Anytime. Just, getting back on that, like, cool. Just, yeah, so like, we need to have like, our persistent store, our const store for all our character data with all the actions, and then we need to pull in the current action and which hitboxes are active. That's a lot of code we need to write to that stuff. I wasn't necessarily planning to do that today because we haven't even we haven't even designed our we haven't even planned for the data the overall hierarchy of that stuff yet. So what can we do to actually test this stuff? Oh man. Because I think I mentioned before, like this function that we have, game simulation. Yeah, this prepare hitbox. This is going to look at the game state and it's going to pull in. The whole idea is it's going to pull in the data from those characters and stage it. So actually, what we want to do is just test the. So the whole point of this test was to see if the stage hitbox get cleared out. The question is like, do we even need that test right now? What else? What should we actually be testing for? Well, earlier going back to our agenda, just to be focused here, we need to generate collision events and write tests to verify the required functionality. Okay, and this is what we wanted to test because we didn't want to affect the next frame, in our game. But I'm thinking now that we have like a big to do here. We need to yeah, we need to set up the character data, and we don't have that yet. So I don't want to jump into that now because that will make us lose our focus. So one thing we could do is we can prepare a temporary structure, go through and change it later, just so we can test this part of our system. It's kind of annoying to write code that we're going to change later, but to be honest, though, it's something you kind of have to get used to. You kind of expect to change stuff. Trying to plan everything from the start is very difficult. You're talking about like levels and levels of abstraction and hierarchy. It is tricky to do that perfectly the first time. So I guess as an exercise, we can go ahead and do that. So, okay, not so bad. Let's just go to our character data here. So I think we already set up character properties with actions, and then each action had a set of hitbox groups. So what we're going to have to do is go through all our characters. Well, first of all, we're going to have a list of character properties in our game data. Our persistent store, right? So well, that's actually, let's call it character, what's going to be character data type? It's going to have to be character properties. Okay, I guess we can just call it character properties here. It'll be fine for now. And the type versus variable name. Okay. I guess we can call it characters for now. So we have that, and we're going to have to initialize it at some point. Eventually, we're going to have a whole stage in our game that pulls in, that initializes stuff for us. I don't want to do that yet. Okay, so we're going to have to write a bunch of utility code for setting this up for our test. Oh, not exactly fun stuff. Anyway, let's just get to it, I guess, and we'll see how far we get. Okay, so going to our collision system, we need to go all the way down to the game state setup here. This is where we're adding hitboxes, but before we do that, we need to do like game state dot game data dot. We don't even have characters. It's not even filling in for us, unfortunately. But we do know. I wonder if this is even going to let us do this. So hopefully we can do something like this. Hold on. Oops. So we're going to store this in a, sorry. So it's going to be an array lists character properties. Gotcha. Okay. And then we're going to have to initialize this to starting capacity. We're going to do something like this on initialization, right? So, hold on. Dot characters equals standard array list. Whoops. Array list character data dot character. And then init allocator, so that it has the allocator. This is getting wild and out of control. Okay, oops. So that initializes the characters for us. Well, at least the outer object, right? That should be like that. Okay. Okay, so we got the outer object list, the array list initialized here, and allocated using this allocator, or at least assign the allocator. And then with the character properties itself, the problem is like our hitbox groups with each. We're gonna have to add some utility functions for initializing an action, right? We don't have any of that stuff yet. We have a lot of layers here that need to be put into place. One thing we could do is we can like make a utility function in here if we wanted, like add action or insert action, right? We actually need to allocate another array list for the actions. So we need a init function for the character properties itself as well. Every time we init a new character, we need to assign, we need to init this. So we need to get some kind of pattern going in here, something similar to a constructor in C++, or maybe I'm just thinking too rigidly about that. You know, some kind of init function like we've used before on like here, right? So hold on. So you know we have the function init, and the way they do it is pass an allocator, return self with these things assigned, right? So we need something like, I'm just going to use this pattern of doing things. So okay. So if we copy what they do in the Zig standard library, I'm just going to use deinitialize with deinit because we're not doing it manually here or automatically here. So we'd have to do something exactly like they're doing here, where it's returns, the items are not assigned, but the actions need to be assigned, would need to have something like, what was it? Standard array list of actions, action properties would need to be init with the allocator, right? That's what we do. And this other stuff doesn't need to be initialized yet. Well, we can give it defaults, right? So let's just say 10,000 as a default there. Okay. And then that should let us initialize our character properties, right? We have to do the similar thing for an action. So instead of, let's just do it step by step and make sure everything compiles, right? So instead of doing this, right, we just go character data dot character properties dot init and pass in our allocator. Just kind of abstract away, like, oops, I'm sorry, that's not right. This is the list, and that's fine. But every time we add a new character, we'll have to do .init. So we have this initializing game data. So now we can do this in our test, actually. So let's get rid of this for now. So we can go characters dot, is it append? Yeah. What does the append function give us? We can't do that right. Okay, append, how does append work? So we pass in self, which is fine, and then item. So can we do character data dot character properties dot init, and then our allocator. Is that okay? Is that something we can do? Okay, so this is automatically going to allocate memory for us. Because we just initialized, we implemented a init function for a character property, and it returns a new character. Me not knowing the details of how the Z compiler ends up handling this stuff, I don't know if this ends up being a copy or whatnot. I just hope that things work out in my favor. Looks like I got a package delivered. Give you 1 second to make sure it's not sitting outside. Okay, nothing here yet. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let's just run the test real quick to see what fails. Expected pointer, dereference, optional unwrap, or failed access found. That's at number 69. Oh boy. Oh, prepare hitbox. Yeah, right. We didn't do anything here yet. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, we can't call that yet. We'll get back to it. Mm-hmm. 134. What is unused here? What? It's unused. Oh. Yeah, we're not using that actually. Okay. Oh, that's a misspelling of things. Oh, I'm misspelling things all over the place. I definitely use it. Use of undeclared identifier allocator. Oh, wait. This be standard allocator mem. Hold on. It be standard.mem.allocator. Yeah, that's right. Standard.mem.allocator. That's right. Use undeclared identifier self. Is that a special? Oh, right. It can't be self. Do that. Okay. Error. Container SDD has no member name array list. Really? Oh, it's lowercase l. That's why. Let's go to 24. Those lowercase L's catching you every time. Okay. Does not support field access. That was the issue there, 140. Programming is a thing. So appending a character like this doesn't work. What's the problem? It says at 23. Does not support field access. Why does it not support field access? Oh, it's because optional? Wait. Hold on a second. Why did I make it optional? Why did I make it optional? Someone explain that to me. Bollocks. Why did I make game data optional? Did I hate myself? Do I just hate myself? Oh, is it because I delayed it initialization? Is that why? Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm making an angry face. I'm making an angry face at myself for doing this. Just making things more complicated than they need to be. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's just do if game state dot game data, and then we have to do a capture. And then we can do add test a character here. Not here, but to game data. Hopefully that will just be a pointer to it. Otherwise, life will be not grand. Me not doing things correctly again. An array list. Thought I hit tab there. Missing field characters. No 7. Oh. You are correct, sir. I need to do that. That's why we have tests, but yeah. Let me initialize characters to some wait. We don't need that anymore, right? That test. Hold on a second. So we're manually assigning game data. Oh. Yeah, well, true. That's not our init function. Okay, gotcha. The init, what it does here is separate game state init. Okay. I just got a letter. Oh, it looks like a bill. So what everybody wants is a bill. You get excited for something coming in the mail, and you just owe someone money. Okay, what are we doing here? Wait. Hold on. Yeah, I want to do something like this, right? Yeah, that's what I want to do. So we need to... Yeah, we just need to allocate that for testing our character data. Okay. Well, yeah, it's allocator. Gotcha. More errors popping up. Oh, 107. Oh boy. Missing field characters, really? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Error use of undeclared different allocator, which I fixed. Error expected type. You're finally back to where we need to be. Expected type, standard array list aligned, character data, character properties, null, found. Const standard array list aligned, character data, character properties, null. This is such a C++ looking error. By the way, holy crap. Yeah, obviously I'm initializing to the wrong type. You know, you know, you know, you know. Shouldn't the type be more just like a pointer to a thing? I can't just return a thing like this. Oh, I guess it could potentially fail, right? We covered this last time, right? My brain is stopped functioning like a human being's brain should function. Yeah, so we did this kind of net thing like this before, right? So I need to return bang, bang, maybe. Error, expected type, character data, character properties found, type info, blah, 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 blah. Okay. How do we deal with that here? We didn't deal with it. We just said life will find a way. And, in fact, life will find a way. Error. uh, life didn't find a way as I previously had hoped. Let's go look at our init function. What do we call that? We did a try. Oh, the try doesn't go here. The try goes here. Does that work? Or am I a crazy person? Error. Expected type info crazy time. Okay. Sorry. And then we can append a character, or just we give up. Okay, maybe I don't understand how append works. Give me a second. No, you're really just appending values to it. Oh. So, sorry, so characters is just an array list, right? Of type character properties. So what am I doing wrong here? I'm confused why it expects a pointer to an array list. Why would it expect a pointer to an array list? Is it expecting it as an argument? Or is it expecting it for the function I'm calling? This error is confusing. What is my review of Zig? I do like Zig quite a bit. There's a few hurdles to get over learning wise if you're coming from C++, where like a lot of things just kind of work. Well, that's not even true. Well, if you're used to C++, as many are in game dev. But yeah, I can't give a full review at the moment, but I do like it. I do like how explicit you need to be all the time. It does slow you down when you're learning, but I think that's true for all programming languages. I think once we get there, we build up a lot of good habits. Don't rely on our previous habits from other languages. We can all learn this, be pretty productive in this language. Anywho, but errors like this, I'm trying to understand. So it definitely expected a pointer to an array list aligned. And it got a pointer to a const array list aligned. It's interesting to me. Why is it const? Why is it const? So this ends up being const, I guess. Why is it const? It just ends up being const? Oh. Is this what we need? I don't know. Error is ignored. Try call using try. Oh. So I hope people realize what I just did there. I made sure we captured not just the game data. We captured the pointer to the game data, and then I was able to actually append. That was the whole problem. Yay. Can I just do this now instead of this? And does it just all work? Or am I an insane person? Do we need to even do double try here? That's the question. I don't think we need to double try. Maybe we need to do a double try. Okay, we double tried. This is weird. Who are these Zig guys out here who can explain? I kind of get it, right? We're dealing with the error that comes from here because this, and then we're dealing with the error that comes from here. But it's kind of insane to me, to be fair. It's kind of insane to me to do try. It is very explicit. I guess I think if you've read anything from the Zig creators, basically they're less concerned without the language being like elegant. It's more important that they stick to their base, ideals on like how things should work and how explicit everything should be. So I guess this does make sense. Try. And I'm looking at this, it makes more sense immediately. It looks prettier to see something like this, and maybe this would catch both in one world. You develop this language, but it makes you easily overlook the fact that this could potentially throw an error, right? So okay, I do like adding that. Okay, so we've added a test character now in our test. Test character in our test. And then would have to like get that test character. So I don't know how we want to do this. I'm just going to do this for now because we're actually probably going to because you can probably add actions and stuff to the test character here. How long? We're like 1:14 here. Okay. Okay, I think we have a good direction here. I don't want to spend too much time on this today. So for next time, what we're going to have to do is go through and initialize this character data. This is extra work I wasn't planning to do now, but unfortunately, to test our stages, we kind of have to do this anyway. So we might as well. The good thing is once we get that done, we can kind of start actually making characters in a way, right? Or just test characters and then process it through our game itself. Well, cool. Well, anyway, sorry, we didn't get to the actual point of why I started the stream today, but we did learn a little bit, and I hope you all were able to learn something yourself. If not, that's cool too. But I hope you at least enjoyed hanging around. I sure did. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Otherwise, I'm going to shut down the stream very soon. By the way, if you're not part of our community, we do have a Discord if you want to join. I'll go ahead and share that. Just give me a second here. Oops. In the stream, you can buy chat. We'll talk about Zig or fighting games or whatever you'd like, game development. Any questions, feel free to ask. I'm always, I try to say frequently, I try to just like chat as often as I can. But anyway, yeah, Zig is definitely interesting programming Strega. So, but I think you can learn a lot from the error messages still, because like even that error message before, right, where I couldn't figure out like what's the deal with the type happening here. I was like, oh, okay. Actually, it was the whole thing was constant. It was right there. I just needed to make it a pointer. Anywho, yeah, if there's no questions, again, thanks for dropping by. Hope to see you all soon. I'll probably stream again tomorrow, continuing where we left off. Until then, I will put up the archive for those of y'all who came in late. Howler compilation times, they're fairly what I would expect from C. I think I don't know if you know, but the Zig compiler is written, I think, as a C program. As a front end to LLVM, I believe, or maybe it's, yeah. So it's fairly slow startup, but they're working on a self-hosted compiler that's supposed to be much faster. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, mainly it's the startup that's pretty slow, but I mean, I don't think it's going to ultimately be for large programs as slow as C++ because of all the header include dependency problems, recompiling the same code over all the template stuff. Well, anywho, again, everybody, thanks again, and see y'all soon. Till then, have a good evening, have a good night, have a good morning, wherever you may be. See y'all soon. Peace.